So that is why it's always better to use a combination of strip and burr. So you can nicely polish it with the strips and nicely finish the preparation. Okay. So is it clear regarding IPR? So this is one case which came to us after IPR. So what do you think is the problem with this? Are you able to make out any problem in this? Yeah. So here if you see, more reduction is done incisively. And how much of a good treatment planning we do, what will happen is the cervical area will come into contact, and incisively there will be a V-shaped gap. So that V-shaped gap will lead to food lodgement that can lead to a lot of complication. So that is why this has to be properly taken care of. So this is again another case. What do you think is the problem in this case? Yeah, not fully gone. So here, the cervical contact is not fully broken. So when the patient wears the aligner, what will happen? The tooth is not going to move at all because the contact is not properly broken. So these small things you need to make sure when you do the IPR. So now coming on to materials used in clear aligner. So this is my area of interest also. During my post-graduation, I did my thesis on materials used in clear aligners. So this is this tabular column is taken from one of the articles I published really. So there are various materials you can use for the manufacturing of aligners. There are more than 27 materials that are available in the market. So sometimes doctors ask, material aligner with a 2 weeks will material make any difference? But trust me, I've tried a lot. In our in-house only, we have done a lot of cases. We have tried various materials, and material properties plays a very important role. Because why I'm stressing is because in market you see a lot of companies selling aligners at a very lesser rate. Like very lesser rate means we can't even imagine at that rate people will be selling. But when the patient wears the aligner is gonna crack, especially when it is a little bit complicated movement like rotation correction and all. And the sad part is the aligner is gonna crack from inside. Patient won't be able to even make out that the aligner has broken. So that tooth alone is the movement is gonna relapse. So that is why when you choose an aligner manufacturer, always make sure that the aligner material used for fabrication of aligner is of a superior quality. That is very important. Okay, so a good aligner manufacturing material will have a good optical property and a good mechanical property. Optical property, why? Because the patient chooses aligner for the aesthetics or the invisibility it offers. So if it is not able to pass the light that is falling on it, that will look awkward, and the patient smiles and all, it won't be appealing. And the next one is mechanical property. Why? Because the patient is going to wear it for 7 days or 10 days or 14 days. So it should stay like that. It shouldn't break in between. So that is why a good aligner manufacturing material should have a good optical property and a mechanical property. So the material what we use for manufacturing our aligners is PETG, polyethylene terephthalate glycol. Then TPU we have, thermoplastic polyurethane. So depending on the variants, we have 3 variants that also we will discuss at the end. So depending on the variant what we use for manufacturing of the aligners, we switch the material. And the thickness of aligner material what we use is 0.8 mm. 0.8 mm is the thickness what we use. And for retainers it's around 1 mm, 1.5 mm and all. So this is way thinner when it comes to when compared to retainer. And in case of periodontally compromised cases or in cases where we need to apply lesser force, then 0.6 mm aligner sheets are also available. Okay.
So it depends on the tooth movement that you will suggest the material.
Yes.
For the case?
Yeah, for the case we will suggest. So if you have any suggestions, you can also give us. So based on that we can work out. Otherwise we will tell, so this is the best material what we can use in this particular case. So this is how an aligner manufacturing material will look like. So an aligner material will look like this. It will be circular in shape. And once the thermoforming is done, it will look like this. Thermoforming means pressing the aligner onto the model under a particular temperature and pressure. So I'll just show you what is happening behind the scenes in the lab. So a work can come to us in 3 ways. It can either come to us in the form of a model, impression or a scan. So like I mentioned, it's digital dentistry. So we need a digital file. So if it is coming as a scan means it's already a digital file. So we can directly go ahead with the designing. But if it is coming as a model, you need to scan the model. This is the model scanner. You need to scan the model and then you have to design it. And after designing, we print it. So printing means it's done in 3D printer. 3D printers are there. So if it is a 10-stage treatment means all the 10 stages we will print. So once the printing is done, then we go ahead with the thermoforming. So if you see here, thermoforming means here in this portion the sheet is heated. Then after that it is pressed onto the model. So once that is done, then it is cut. So if you're wondering what this machine is, this is a LAC machine, laser aligner cutter. So this particular machine costs around 2 crores. So this, we are the only aligner manufacturer in India who has this. We have 2 such machines. And in the near future, like I was telling regarding these ideas, we are gonna go into automation. So whole process we are gonna automate it. These procedures, thermoforming, cutting, printing and all, everything will come in a single unit. So we have already placed the order for that. That will cost around 6 to 7 crores. So it is a very expensive machine. So that for the ease of fabrication, we are gonna switch on to automation. So this is how a virtual setup video will look like. So it will be sent to you in the form of a WhatsApp link. So each stage, how much movement is being done, you can see here, and you can share it to your patient also. There's no confidential detail like price and all which is there. So you can share it to your patient. So in a touchscreen phone, you can easily see like each aspect how much movement is happening, upper arch alone, lower arch alone. Patient will get a better idea. And if there's any kind of alteration we want to do in the plan, we can do it before starting the treatment. So if you want to give a work to us, what all are the records we require? So first and foremost, we need the chief complaint of the patient, because that is very important. How much of a good planning we do, if patient's chief complaint, patient might be looking out for one particular movement correction. So if that is not addressed, then there's no use of it. So that is why chief complaint of the patient is very important. Then coming on to the next one is age. So why we need to know the age is because, especially in the adolescent age groups and all, their pulp horns might be higher. So we'll not be able to do extensive IPR. Then late mandibular growth we have to take into account. So a lot of things we have to take into consideration. So that is why age of the patient is also very important. Then we need a scan, model or an impression. Then we need OPG. OPG, like you all know, it's a primary diagnostic aid. So we need OPG initially itself. So for planning we don't need OPG, but at least before proceeding we need an OPG. We need to assess the bone level. We need to see how the root position is.